Hey, what's happening, gamers? Welcome to the debut episode of Game Nights Television, only on GameZone.com. For 3 years, I've been known in the industry as Kwing, a reviewer known for his honesty, a passionate heart for gaming, and soothing narrations. Now I've abandoned all what you've known and loved for something completely brand new. We have a jam-packed show for you today, folks. Game Nights has hands-on the best and worst games of spring of 2010, followed by our featured video review of Super Street Fighter 4. After that, we have a brand spanking new set of series, H.E.L.P, games that still pwn, killer interviews with swag, and lastly, we answer your burning questions in our mailbag section. Don't go anywhere, folks, because Game Nights TV starts right now. Battlefield Bad Company 2 for the PS3 and Xbox 360. Yet another shooter arrives for both systems. Like the last games, the main fun factor of this series is its online multiplayer. Single player doesn't really have a lot to offer in the long run, but it wasn't terrible either. The terrain and visuals look better than the original by far. Gameplay-wise, the game is good, and fans of the last will have no issues with it. One thing I did notice about this game is to us it felt like a typical A-Team episode. Seriously, what didn't explode or blow up? That being said, the game was fun, but these type of games just aren't my thing. Sonic DS Collection. Over at Game Nights, we joked about all the Sonic collections over the years, but you know what? We were right. This collection covers only 4 games. Ouch! Sonic, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and Sonic & Knuckles. For $29.99, that's a little too much for 4 games, don't you think, Sega? Then again, most rabid Sonic fans will buy this game anyway. The gameplay doesn't have the same issues of its Game Boy counterpart. Still, you would be better off picking up Mega Collection for the GameCube, or better yet, download all 4 games off the Wii's Virtual Console. Bottom line, this game isn't worth it. God of War 3, released for the PS3 on March 15th. At long last, the story comes to a close and Kratos' war with the Olympians reaches its climax. Many critics are calling this game the Game of the Year. Personally, we think our industry colleagues are jumping the gun just a little bit. Still, this game is really beefy, and that's a good thing. Santa Monica uses that formula, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and it pays off for this game big time. God of War is a visual masterpiece for the eyes and breathes HD into the Greek mythos and fantasy very nicely. The gameplay is what you would come to expect from the series. Kratos can perform devastating combos that are simple and fun to pull off, and cancel offense to go on the defense much faster than ever before. Players really can't abuse combos as they did before due to more enemies surrounding Kratos than ever before. Another good quality of this game is the weapons all rock as opposed to the last game. Game Nights TV feels that the best game in the trilogy is still the second game. However, God of War 3 did a great job and we suggest you guys check this out. Just Cause 2. 2010 is the year of sequels, it seems. From what we played of this game, there isn't much to do, and that's not a bad thing. Even with the game's lack of mission structure, it's just a zany sandbox game, and that's okay. Story-wise, this game doesn't need no stinking story. But it does have one, it just isn't really that interesting. So what's the biggest thing going for this game? Excellent gameplay. You're probably wondering what's the point of the game. Well, other than using a grappling hook to jump onto cars and helicopters to shoot stuff up, nothing much. Still playing as a secret agent and grappling everywhere never gets old. Plus, it's just fun. Bottom line, it's a good game, though we're torn between renting it or keeping it. Red Steel 2. Out of all the games of March, this game has us foaming at the mouth, literally. Red Steel 2 capitalized on the Wii Motion Plus and allows players to fully experience what real motion-controlled games were supposed to be like on the Wii in 2006. Players take on the role of a trench coat, sword-wielding, gun-toting super samurai ninja. Unlike the last game, this does not continue the story of the first game. Also gone is the realistic look of the game. Instead, developers have decided to play to the Wii's strength and opt for cel-shaded graphic, which personally is full of win, Ubisoft. The biggest reason this game rocks is the gameplay, hands down. We can't tell you how amazing the controls feel for this game. The sword fighting is what Red Steel should have been. Plus, first-person games on Wii could learn a thing or two from this game's release. This is one Wii title you can't afford not to have in your collection. We had hours of fun with this title, and Ubisoft made the Wii Motion Plus proud. In life, there are hunters, and then there's monster hunters. Monster Hunter Tri has dozens of unique worlds for you to visit and epic monsters for you to slay. Upon defeating them, you earn new materials to forge better armor and weapons to use. But being able to go online and play this game with 3 of your friends is something else altogether. For the most part, the Wi-Fi is excellent, only encountering a few hiccups here and there where players will skip during intense battles. One other odd thing is Tri doesn't use a Z targeting system. Rather, it relies on the player's skill to aim and kill the monsters properly. Gameplay allows players to use the Wiimote or Classic controller if you want to. Even though you can fight the beasties by yourself, it's a lot more fun to go online and play this game with people. Bottom line, this game is one you want to have. Wow, this game has really amazed us, and Capcom impressed us enough for a complete revamp of Game Night's Entertainment's video review series. We've actually annihilated the old way of doing video game reviews and now grade the game in 5 factors: gameplay, design, if it's challenging, its fun factor, and of course the game's lasting appeal. One last thing, we no longer grade games 1 through 10 either. Now we just do 5 out of 5. Street Fighter IV plays a lot like its predecessor from last year. You punch, kick, taunt, and do special moves on your opponents just like before. It's nothing new, but that's why the franchise still rules. Each character has a few specific set of regular moves and tweak special abilities as well. Example of this being an extra hit to reuse Dragon Punch, and Sagat's Tiger Fireballs have been weakened just a little bit to give fighters a more balanced battle against Sagat. Combos are more advanced and harder to execute in this sequel though. Some of them can be pulled off successfully, but others are way too complicated. However, this game does offer new additions to your arsenal as well, this being 2 Ultra moves, although only one can be selected before a battle. That option takes a page right from Street Fighter III, and that's actually a very good thing. One last issue we have with the gameplay is the Ultra moves are a little harder to release than in the last game. Playing Street Fighter IV, I noticed how simpler it was to perform the Ultra moves and how flawlessly they executed. So this made surviving Super Street Fighter IV's online matches a little bit more sloppy, because instead of doing a Super Fireball attack, I would do a Shoryuken instead, and that just didn't really help me win. Aside from the complex combos and revamped Ultra combo moves, the gameplay is very solid and still great. Back in 2008, when Capcom unveiled the game's visuals, I was just blown away with the art direction that they took. I mean, the cel-shaded ink painting visuals were cool, but the game also had that Street Fighter II vibe, even though it was in high definition, and it looked great. Luckily, the same engine is brought over for the sequel, and the detail, environments, and the characters get a few tweaks here and there, and it worked out very nicely. Anime cutscenes reappear in this game, but they're done in a different animation style than the last one. However, the good thing about this is the full-motion video scenes are different, and they flesh out the characters more, but they also continue the story from where the last game left off. The user interface is a lot simpler to navigate, and online has a lot more features than before, like playing in ranking matches or team battles with friends. If you had problems with the unbalanced characters from the last game, then fear not gamers, this is a lot better. The difficulty and character balance is much more stable than the last game and offers enough of an equal challenge, but at the same time not being as crazy hard as the last game. Still, this game isn't a pushover by any means though. You're still going to need to buckle down for intense fights, especially on the higher difficulties, as they will spank you like never before. A challenge mode has actually been added in the game where you can train to learn characters' moves and combos, but most of the combos are way more advanced and trickier compared to the last game. Also, if you don't master these combos, then you won't really stand a chance online, which is a bummer to be sure. The only part of the game that is an epic fail challenge-wise is playing in online mode though. This is not balanced like the last game. This is because of the gamers that you actually fight lie about their ranking, so there's no way of knowing who you will actually fight against. With the players masquerading their skill and is really a B or A player, so their goal is to actually earn a perfect round. The online friend system doesn't really work that well either, and it's very confusing to actually fight with your friends. Most of the online players that you meet are there to compete, so Capcom has kind of catered to their needs above normal Street Fighter fans. It's more than likely that a beginner player will not fight somebody in their same skill level, and that's just not right. There needs to be a better balance between that system, because online play, it can be fun and it can be downright frustrating and face cheap players. Single player is a lot more fleshed out this time around, and the computer AI is better balanced than before, so arcade mode is a great place to get familiar with online player tactics, and it's just a lot more challenging than last time. This game's fun factor is loaded with a lot of awesome sauce, because some of your favorite characters from the past games return with a vengeance, like Cody and Guy and Adan from Alpha, Ibuki and Dudley from Street Fighter 3, and DJ and T-Hawk from Super Street Fighter 2 return. Plus, 2 new characters join the fray as well. Not only that, but there are newer stages that you can fight, like the Eclipse stage, and of course old ones from the last game see a return. Bonus stages come back from Street Fighter 2, and they're just as fun as they were nearly 20 years ago. If you're playing as Cody and Guy though, the game plays homage to Final Fight, where after you beat the car, some guy comes in and cries over his car being blown up. Playing with 2 players locally or with friends you know online is still a lot of fun. The hours just flew by, and it was so much fun to play with people I knew rather than complete strangers. This game just felt so much like Street Fighter 2 and Alpha rolled into one, and that is a match made in heaven in my opinion. There's hardly any unlockable content, but you will earn costume colors, player status icons, and titles for online mode and new taunts by just playing the game. So that was great too. Even all the characters are unlocked at the start of the game, so you don't have to worry about finding all those hard characters like Akuma and Gouken from the original Street Fighter 4. One last thing to note is that if you missed out on the original Street Fighter 4, then you're in luck, because this game is more of a budget title with its $40 price point. The fun factor is applied really well, but the lack of content that was present in the original Street Fighter 4 makes it more catered toward players achieving things online than single player. Does this game have lasting appeal? You bet it does, and it has a lot of it, and does the Street Fighter name proud. We will be playing this game for years with our friends locally and online. Competition Street Fighters will also get a kick out of this game for its robust online modes as well. Overall, Super Street Fighter 4 may lose the interest of those of you who crave unlockable content or cheap online fights, but this game is still very fun and well balanced for those of you who want a second chance at the game. So Game Nights TV gives Super Street Fighter 4 on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 a 4 out of 5. This game is definitely worth checking out, guys. Dantes Inferno was EA's response to God of War. Players journey through the 9 circles of hell, but for the most part, one puzzle keeps them trapped there. This room may seem impossible with fire all around you, and by the look of it, you know you need to climb out of this death trap to proceed. But if you get too close to the fire, then you get burned. The easiest way to get past this part of the level is to find a block, push it onto the switch in the center of the room to lower the platforms, and then very quickly kick the block onto the lower platform to cover the flames, and then you just climb out, face the monsters, and you can resume your quest to save your faithful wife. Now it's time for us to step back into the past with a great game from the 16-bit era. I'm shocked that Power Rangers is back on the air as reruns, but Disney messed up the show big time. Still in honor of the best Rangers to ever grace your TV, we've got some totally more-phenomenal tips to help you get the most out of your Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Super NES game. The first thing we're going to look at is the backflip. Not many people know that in order to do this move, all you have to do is stand still and press the jump button twice, and you'll do the backflip. Now this move is perfect for getting some distance between you and your putty foes. To do the different throws, move the gamepad in the direction of your throw. Pressing forward, you'll toss the putty. Pressing down, and you will actually rapid punch him in the stomach, which is very useful and pretty wicked, huh? Lastly, in order to access the two-player stages, input these codes 0411, 1007, and 1212. See, two players can dish it out in a Street Fighter II clone. Well, sort of. I call them Megazord. Anyway, the codes again are 0411, 1007, 1212. For over a decade, this game has continued to please gamers from the last generation and even today. So what is our mystery game? It's none other than Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2 Rogue Leader for the Nintendo GameCube. To date, this is still the best Star Wars flight combat sim in existence, and set the bar for combat flight sim games for over a decade. I mean, what's not to love about this game? Awesome music, amazing sound effects, excellent voice acting, and graphics that still make us say wow. Barreling down the trench of the Death Star, escaping Hoth, or just battling it out in space, the graphics are most impressive. But what's at the heart of what makes this game still epic today? The gameplay, of course. Like never before, players felt like they were sitting in the cockpit of an X-Wing fighter. The controls were smooth as glass and perfect. Unlike its predecessor, Rogue Leader allowed players to command your wingmen in a similar approach to that of the PC Star Wars flight sim games. This feature, along with other bells and whistles, made this game stand out from other combat flight sims back then. The dogfights were astounding in this game, and the combat was 100% better than the original. The TIE Fighter AI was smarter too, and made for such an exciting experience. Add the element of having your teammates attack your target or form up made this game even better. The story for the game followed more closely to the plot of the original trilogy and filled in the gaps missing from the movies. Example of this, Wedge takes over Rogue Squadron after Luke is shot down on Hoth. Wedge also stole the Imperial transport General Solo and his team used to land on Endor. The final battle takes place near the climax of Return of the Jedi, too. So as you can see, Factor 5 provided immense Star Wars fan service throughout the game. Besides the gameplay and everything else going for this game, it had an early achievement system of collecting medals based on your performance and wicked high replay value too. Players could replay the game using various ships on just about any level you wanted to. Heck, you could even fly Vader's TIE Fighter, Slave One, the Millennium Falcon, the Naboo Starfighter, and so much more. Like classic games of old, Factor 5 included cheat codes too, which added not only a sense of nostalgia, but also gave players more options. Another charm of the game is the 5 unlockable levels too, like the famous Death Star escape level where Luke has to man the Falcon's turrets blasting TIE fighters, or flying through the asteroid field with the Millennium Falcon, not to mention one What If level with playing from the Empire's perspective on the Death Star level, and of course the never filmed Empire invasion of the moon Yavin, and lastly an endurance level. We could talk about all this game has to offer and then some. Many of you, including us, have fond memories, and this is still one of our personal favorite games of all time. The game only has one downside to this day: it's only one player. However, Rebel Strike did offer the chance to replay the second game with a buddy, a mode my dad and I played a lot back in 2003, I might add. Even though this game overflows with many reasons why it still pwns, the company sadly does not. After failing to impress gamers with the abominable layer for the PS3, in the summer of 2009, Factor 5 closed its doors for the last time. So while we honor Rogue Leader for being a game that still pwns, we are saddened that the world will never see its like again. So join us in proudly playing this title for another decade. All wings in attack position to take on the Empire.
Alright guys, it's Swag here, and I'm talking with the CEO of Splash Damage about this game, Brink. Now, there's a lot of competition for first-person shooters these days. What are you guys doing different?
Well, you know, Brink, first of all, and I think most importantly about Brink is this story. It takes place on a big, immense, artificial floating city that was built just off the coast of San Francisco in our game universe around 2012, towed out into the middle of the sea, and then suddenly, inexplicably, loses contact with the entire rest of the world. No ships are passing, no planes flying overhead, no complete radio silence. And so it's a world that players haven't seen before, kind of a green, sustainable future vision of what it might be like to have this floating city, except 20 years later when you join the game in 2045, resources are running low, and now there's this kind of horrific conflict between competing social factions. So you have the resistance, who represent the refugees, you know, just fighting for a fairer distribution of resources, and then the security, who represent the original founders, who believe they're just trying to maintain law and order. But what's great about Brink is you get to choose whether you play through the game as resistance or security. So we have two completely different storylines with different cinematics and different campaigns. On top of that, when you play through Brink, irrespective of whether you play offline or online, it's the same game. We're blurring the lines between single player, cooperative and multiplayer, so that irrespective of the way that you play, as you earn experience points and you unlock, you know, cool new weapons and upgrades, modify the look of your character, buy new special abilities, tools and gadgets, you can use those in any mode you like. So you could be playing online, you know, at home with your friends, and let's say you don't even have an internet connection. You've been playing for a couple of days, you're level 15, like the guys that are playing here at the event today. Okay. One of your buddies comes online, he can just drop straight in and play with you. We have full drop in and out support for up to 7 of your friends to join you at any time. That's awesome. You don't have to get together in a lobby and party up or any of that stuff. And when he joins you, you could play for an hour maybe, and then think, you know what, we want to kick some strangers' ass. So you just open up the game, and loads of strangers can fill out the enemies, and you and your buddy can try and coordinate to take out all of these strangers and trying to complete your objectives.
Now, have you announced the maximum number of multiplayers you can have on a single map?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We've long believed that the sweet spot for multiplayer combat, you know, is in the low double digits, just because you get a chance to get your own back on the person and find the character that might have incapacitated you before. You can coordinate better, and it's working best for us now around 16 players. Okay. So we have 8-player cooperative and 16-player kind of versus mode.
Okay, now can you explain this tall, gigantic thing right here?
Yeah, this is Founder's Tower. You know, when they first built the Ark, really it was a microcosm of sustainability. The idea behind it was an absolutely green vision of how you could have, you know, this small city that was totally self-supporting. It was used for commercial research, government research, you know, lots of really benevolent means. But what happens in the future is that it wasn't really built to last forever. The goal behind this thing wasn't that, you know, it could survive for hundreds and hundreds of years. You know, if you have a wind farm, you still need new motors. You know, if you have solar farms, you still need new arrays. And when this stuff starts to go wrong, basically they start to run out of power. This is a really significant issue because refugees are arriving from nearby atolls that have become flooded. So they're suspicious. They think maybe it's the rising of the Earth's oceans. You know, the conspiracy theorists believe it's a billionaire anthropologist conducting a horrific social experiment who's just blocked off the rest of the world. So nobody really knows why it's going on, but there's definitely limited resources. And actually what we're showing here at E3 today for the first time is a resistance mission. And what you're trying to do, it's a bonus mission that you unlock at the end of the resistance campaign that tells a what-if story. Now, one of your squad mates, his brothers died fighting for the security, and he's now broken away and created a cell that wants to destroy the entire fusion fission reactor for the Ark. And so you're actually on a mission with this crazy guy who wants to try and blow up the Ark.
All right. Well, that's a lot of information. I'm going to have to watch this again later and listen to everything that you said again because, whew, you're just a flood of information. You're making this easy for me. I didn't have to ask any questions.
Well, you did say what makes it different.
Oh, there, exactly. That's true. That is a loaded question, isn't it? Okay, platforms, and when can we expect to see this on the store shelves?
So we're going to be shipping on the PlayStation 3, the PC, and the Xbox 360 in spring 2011.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Paul. We look forward to checking it out.
As this is our first show, we don't have a lot of messages or videos to show for Game Nights TV in our mailbag section. In the meantime, we are more than happy to look at our past fan mail from Game Nights Entertainment, and of course my legion of followers over on the Kwing fan side. If you would like to email us a question, need help in a game, or have some info on cheat codes for classic games, just hit up our regular email at GameNightsRadio@gmail.com, or better yet, since this is the internet and it thrives on these type of viral videos, send us a 30-second video question or audio format and we will post it on the air. Our first letter comes from Death Knight U37, and he writes, "Hey man, saw your blog about this new show, and from the preview it looked awesome. Will the show feature live-action skits like your Hush Hush deal with Screw Attack? Also, I think K-Wife should have a segment like something for girl gamers. Just an idea. Most girl gamers seem to be all about showcasing their goods, and K-Wife is, I believe, what a real gamer girl is supposed to be. And I feel that it's very rare for modest gamer girls to exist, but I believe they do exist." Interesting question. Yes, the preview for the show has brought a lot of hype, and the Game Night staff and myself have been very pleased with the pilot thus far. At this time, I don't know about partnering with Screw Attack. The show in question will debut in the summer of 2011, though. As far as Game Nights TV goes, K-Wife is an avid writer and behind-the-scenes gal. Not saying that stuff can't change, maybe we can do something called Girl Power or some other type of segment down the road. I don't really know, but thanks again for the question. The last question comes from user AngelGamer1986. She writes, "Hey Kwing, long-time watcher, first-time emailer. One thing I love about your shows is how you pass on tips and strategies. Well, I can't remember how to get 10 lives in Super C. So, is there a cheat that will work on my Wii? Any help would be great. Thanks." Don't worry, Angel1986, we got your answer right here. At the Super C title screen, press up, left, down, up, 2, 1, then plus. If done correctly, you will now have 10 lives. Pretty sweet, huh? Good luck and teach those alien monsters some serious payback. Once again, for those of you that didn't get the code, go to the title screen and input right, left, down, up, 2, 1, then plus. Before we close off today's episode, we have to give our Worst Game of the Month award. Alright, we have one last segment for all of you guys. Fans of game nights are familiar with this award, so what game this month was truly the worst to release? You see, a long time ago there was a series called Moto Racer, which was the king of motorcycle games. Today, MotoGP is nothing more than an average game. It's not that the game doesn't have any things to offer, it just isn't that good. Gameplay for this game is nothing to brag about and is atrocious. The top button is how you accelerate, and when coming into tight turns, you need to brake or you'll crash. Then again, braking isn't necessarily going to keep you on the track anyway, but it's better than slowing down into the turn. And this is where the whole game falls apart. The whole point of the game is to follow the green line. When it turns red, then you know you're going too fast. Personally, the controls are a joke for this game, and it isn't fun at all. It has a 3-hour learning curve, and the best you will ever do in this game is the top 6. You wouldn't believe how unresponsive the controls for this game are. Online play wasn't laggy, but all the racers stink up the course just like you do. So there is a shot to place better actually when you're online. Career mode was the only thing that was fun about this game, but even that didn't last. With that being said, this game is not even worth renting or playing. It doesn't capture the feel of the classic MotoGP games, and bottom line, it's just a boring game to play. So congrats, you earn our new coveted Worst Game of the Month award. Well, that does it for our inaugural episode. We will be back next month with another exciting show. Next episode, we will be dabbling with live-action stuff. We'll also take a look at Super Mario Galaxy 2, 3D Game Heroes, Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Conviction, and Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands. Plus a ton of E3 goodness, more radical cheats, tips, and strategies, plus another stellar video review, games that still pwn, and more killer interviews with our field man Nick Huggett. This has been Kwing. My catchphrase as always is God bless and happy gaming. From all of us at Game Nights TV, have a great month, and until we meet again, gamers.